So, Andy, I think you're on, just as a reminder that because this is the district budget here and I have to make a statement before you reconvene, but before you do the consent motion.
Yep. All right. All right. Do we have everyone here? Looks like we do. So, all right. Then it is 6:30. We're still a little bit early.
Yeah, we have about 20 seconds.
Yeah. All right. By my clock, it's 6:30, and I want to welcome everyone to our public session tonight. We are reconvening an open session, and I notice here that there's been listed a motion to reconvene an open session. So at this point, I will just be, as it's in accordance with the agenda, ask for motion to reconvene. I don't. Because it's outside the executive session, I'll just do it to make sure that we address it. Is there a motion to reconvene an open session?
So moved, Teresa.
Second?
Second.
Okay, and all in favor, Teresa
Aye.
and Danielle
Aye.
and Tamika? Aye, Tamika?
I said aye.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear, and Franklin votes aye. So motion carries. We are in open session. And Larry, I believe that.
Yep, I get to jump in and give a brief history lesson on the state of Wisconsin and budget hearings versus budget voting. Back in the 1950s, when Glendale became a school district, they had the chance to either name themselves a union school district or a common school district. They chose a common school district, which helps us, or helps me actually, because union schools have to have a community vote on the budget. As a common school district, the school board gets to decide on the budget. But they did change the law in 2016 to include the following statement for the budget hearing, and that includes Fund 80, which is our community fund. So approval of our budget tonight, later on in the under new business, will include Fund 80, which consists of programs and activities open to the general public for community education, recreation, and athletics outside the regular curriculum program. Community Service Fund tax levy includes $229,438 allocation for property services and staffing allocations in building administration of $13,714, custodial service of $54,083, and recreational programs of $322,050. So that's for just general information. That is part of the entire budget that will be approved later on. But back in 2016, the state wanted everybody to understand that part of the whole budget is that Fund 80 community fund also. So with that, you can do your consent motion.
Okay. Item F is consent motion for approval of item E, F. Well, and I think numbers here are off. And item number F is the consent motion for approval of agenda and minutes and accounts payable, which are item G, H, and I believe.
So moved.
Second, Teresa.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Having none, all in favor, I'll go from left to right. Teresa,
Aye.
Danielle,
Aye.
and Tamika.
Aye.
Okay, and Andrew Franklin votes aye, so the motion carries. Item number 2A, old business, discussion and approval of school reopening plan.
I'm going to just open that up. We had a long discussion last meeting. I know that kudos to Danielle and Molly and a few others sending specific changes to the reopening plan, which has been given back to you. And so it's just board discussion. And then if you so choose to approve it or to amend it, you may do so.
Okay, and I will take motion on that.
So moved, Teresa.
Is there a second?
Second, Tamika.
Okay, any discussion? I want to add something, and Jenica, let me know if I, restate anything incorrectly. But I had a great conversation with Jenica Westfall today. Also had a discussion with Shannon Kilton as well about the reopening. What we've done here is we've created a reopening handbook that I think is going to be a really good guide for us to start school rolling. Everything that's in there, unfortunately, is subject to change, but it's the best guess what we have before us as the school year is about to unfold. And I think that there's been a whole heck of a lot of work that's gone into this. And as a board, as we try to work through those details in open session last time, I think that one thing that maybe got lost, and that was the tremendous effort of our staff to really put not just that, but all the reopening together. Things that I saw, not just in the reopening meeting Monday, but also in the work that everyone's been doing with Larry's work, knowing that we've been down to principal 2, everyone's just been putting in more of a share. And what I'm happy to say is, we should all have information now. Sherry Tucker, by the way, sent out a fantastic email over the weekend with a lot of information that was in there. There's going to be some other details forthcoming, but from where I sit, I understand that everyone's been advised their one-to-one meetings, that when we go to those one-to-one meetings, our schedules are going to be in place, and that we are going to be able to get a good view on how things are going to unfold once we start school full-time the following week. In addition, I have been just assured that where we are at in terms of what we're covering in curriculum this year is going to address the holes that people felt existed in last spring's emergency learning, but also that we are going to be going full steam ahead on our normal curriculum. And, in talking with Jenica, I just feel very confident that between the handbook and then the other documentation that we have, that we are going to be really in a good place to get things going. I also know that Jenica had identified to me, and I'm not jumping the gun here on this, but I know that she's identified the school website as something that she wants to make more user-friendly. And that's something that they're working on as they finalize the details. But honestly, I'm just impressed with the work, the professionalism, the responsiveness that's gone into getting this year off to start. And I know that it's tough, and I hope that families understand that. Families with normal, quote unquote, needs, family with special needs. I know it's not going to be perfect out the gate, but we're going to get things right. And I know that everyone's just chomping at the bit to get going. So I wanted to make sure that that was clear today. So thank you. And Jenica, if I overstated anything or oversold anything, let me know.
No, I just wanted to add that our staff coming back this week have been absolutely phenomenal, and have just done everything they can to get ready for the start of the school year. So a huge shout out to our staff.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jenica. Yeah, I concur. And it's just not a Glendale handbook. I think it's an entire North Shore handbook where we're working with the North Shore Health Department. We're working with Nicolay and Fox Point, Mapledale, Shorewood, Whitefish Bay, and Brown Deer, all of our neighboring districts, each having their own school board and some choosing to do things unlike we are going to do. And so we're all doing the best that we can. So any other questions or comments?
Okay.
No, I
Then.
just want to. Oh,
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I just want to echo Andy's gratitude. I've been interacting with the community, with the administration, with teachers, and I just wholeheartedly agree that everybody is really putting their all into this and working really hard. And we're not giving enough credit there, so we can't give enough. But thank you. Yeah.
Agreed. Okay, then, if no one
So
else.
if you approve it, just so you know, so people know, it will be on the website tomorrow. Hard copies will be in the office if you want to see it. It is a 34-page document. So we'll have hard copies if you want it, but it'll be on our website, and staff, you'll get the email tomorrow and from the district newsletter that's coming out to staff tomorrow.
Okay, then I will take a roll call. All in favor of approving the discussion and approval of, of the handbook and school reopening plan. Danielle Bailey,
Aye.
Tomika Bukvik,
Aye.
and Teresa.
You're muted, Teresa.
Sorry about that. Aye.
Great, and Andrew Franklin votes aye. The motion carries. Terrific.
Thank you very much. Yes, second piece of old business is the second reading. And again, sometimes my job drives me crazy, and this is an example of, we have to create a policy GBDE for employee compensation, unexpected or extraordinary circumstances. So part of the CARES Act, there will be some money that comes to the district that we will use to pay our custodians. And because it's federal money, you have to have a special policy for this. So the DPI came out last month and said, we have to create a policy before you get any money. Kudos to Rosie Tays, who really did put this together. So I am recommending that the board approve the second reading of policy GBDE, employee compensation, unexpected or extraordinary circumstances, as written, so that we can finish our CARES Act registration and get CARES Act money that we can then use to help offset some of the costs of the COVID-19 reopening.
Okay. Is there a motion with, is there a motion with respect to the recommendation?
So moved, Teresa.
Second.
Perfect. And is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll take a roll vote going from left to right. Again, on my screen, Teresa Seam,
Aye.
Danielle Bailey,
Aye.
Tomika Vukovic,
Aye.
and Andrew Franklin votes aye. The motion carries and second reading is approved.
Thank you. And again, thanks to Rosie. And again, a huge thank to Rosie for new business item A, which is considering 2019-20 school district budget and school district tax levy. As the board knows, and for those of you who've been online for the last few months with COVID, there's been a lot of uncertainty over this budget. There's still some uncertainty over the budget. This is the original budget that we brought to the board in June with no changes. The reason we can bring that is today, it sounds like they're not going to make any financial changes at the state level. But that doesn't mean it won't happen. And as a board, you still have one more opportunity in October to make budget adjustments. So with that, I'm recommending that the board approve the 2020-2021 budget in the amount of $18,173,322. I also recommend that the board approve the 2020-2021 tax levy in the amount of $13,550,596. Do you want me to be going to specifics? Otherwise, it's in the on our website, and also been, if you want to know specifically, the general fund, which is Fund 10, is $15,651,494. Special education, $3,312,040. Debt service is $256,061. Food service fund, shout out to our new food service company of $508,000. And then the community service fund, which I talked about at the beginning, of $619,285. So, but the recommendation is that you approve the budget and the tax levy and the amounts cited.
Okay. Before I entertain a motion, I just want to remind people that our practice has been that while we don't have an open chat, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, you just need to raise your hand and we'll get you in the order that pops up. But that being said, is there a motion with respect to the recommendation?
So moved, Teresa.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Danielle.
Is there any discussion?
I have a question, Larry.
Sure.
This up before. I asked how we go about, not want to step on anybody's toes, but I want to see the raises on the contracts before they're implemented. I know people sign contracts, with to be announced, saying that, they will get they won't get any less than they are now.
Correct.
But by approving this budget, and I'm ready to approve it, but I also want to make sure that we know who and what raises are being given. Not that we're going to change it. I just want to know the information and approve of that way, not stepping on your toes.
I know, I get it.
Okay.
And the quick answer is you can ask that after the October adjustments, because right now, all contracts, teacher contracts, paraprofessionals, custodians, administrators, all are at a 0% until after the October adjustments, because I just don't trust the state changing. So this budget does have a 1.81%, which is the CPI from last year. It's about $136,000 total in raises that can go out. How they will be divvied up won't be determined until after the October adjustments, just in case we have to withdraw that because the state does something crazy to us.
But we will get that before you divvy it up.
Yes, you will.
Thank you. I just want, and I'm not trying to.
Nope, it's
do any-
good.
I just, then
And
there's been people.
It's part of the record, so.
Right, just to make sure that it's part of the record and we
Yep.
have looked at it and we know that everybody who is getting a raise and there's no,
Yep.
thank you.
And I mean, just to be clear, I mean, we all do go over that, and the board is obviously given, its say on whether or not we are going to, approve certain changes, including when Larry comes back in October. So I appreciate the question, and but my takeaway from that is that right now salaries are at a 0% increase, and anything else is really, it literally is TBD based on where funding is down the road and how we implement that, should we make an adjustment in October, right, Larry?
Correct.
Yeah. As far as special ed goes, and just to kind of get a sense of how special ed has changed, is that special ed figure inclusive of, the special ed we pay for a share of state vouchers, or is that just our direct costs? And how has special ed kind of changed since last year?
So that first, good question. I don't bring up the state vouchers because it irritates me and should irritate the community. I think Rose is on here, and I'm going off memory here. So if I'm off by a few $1,000s, I apologize. I believe that the Glendale portion that we had to pay back to the state to give out to charter and choice schools throughout the state, and at Racine, not MPS is their own entity, but the Racine charter school and then the state charter and choice system was $189,000 last year. So that out of the 18,173,000, we will lose 189,000 to the choice and charter. That was last year's number. We're anticipating that'll probably be a larger number this year. The second part of your question, I should have written down, Andy, help me remember it. Special education costs. This is an increase in special education funding. Last year is about 3.1 million, this year 3.3 million. A lot of that is salary and benefits. We did increase a social worker, which would be part of special education costs. And then the other, we maintain, as you are, if you approve the 1.5 FTE special education teachers, later on in this budget, we will have the same amount of teachers as we had last year, and paraprofessionals.
Okay. And then a couple other quick things. I mean, we talked about food very, very briefly. Let me ask you this question, kind of multiple question. With respect to food and busing, those numbers could change, but our typical costs are projected into that budget right now, aren't they?
Yes. So we projected that we would pay, I'll start with busing. So busing each year costs over $1 million for us between regular education, special education, 4K. And again, I don't know if everybody in the community knows that Glendale has to pay their portion of private and parochial schools that are within 5 miles of the city limits of Glendale. So if there's a family who wants to go to St. John's Lutheran and they want the bus, we pay for that bus for those students. if they're Glendale residents. And we have that consortium with Nicolay, Fox Point, and Mapledale, so we are saving as much money as we can on busing, but we have over $1 million budgeted into that right now. There could be some savings because we're starting virtually, but I think if and when we come back with COVID, we will probably have an increased number of routes because we won't have as many kids on the buses.
So we may save a little bit now, but we may make it up in short.
Yeah.
And the same thing with food. I mean, right now we've got that budget in there. Does that get offset by what's going on right now?
It actually won't. It's going to come out. I saw Rosie and Shannon were working on it today, that families will be able to pick up school lunches on any day that they want, that the Earmark is doing a great job. So if the Franklin family can come to pick up food on Wednesday, you will come pick up 5 lunches on Wednesday that you can reheat for the entire week. So you don't have to come every day to pick up lunches. And we're going to work around each family schedule. That's going to be coming out, if not tomorrow, probably Friday. So Monday is the last day of the summer lunch program. And then Tuesday, September 1st, starts the regular lunch program that any Glendale resident can either put it on their lunch account, or if you qualify for reduced or free lunch, you can just come pick it up.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Couple quick questions. Is Rosie on, Claire?
I'm not sure. Rosie, are you on?
Maybe you can answer these questions if she's not.
I am. I'm sorry, Teresa.
Rosie's there.
Oh, great. Had a couple questions about the fund balance. I see that it goes from 15.7 at the end of 2021 to 16.7, 16.9. Do you have a sense of, say, the average fund balance among schools in Wisconsin? Average percentage?
I can check on that. I don't know the schools in Wisconsin. I do know in the area, we're pretty consistent with the schools in the area as far as fund balance. We've always had the goal with policy to keep it around 12 or right in there.
I think the policy calls for 10%, but yeah, you're that's good that we're comparable because those schools are probably more similar to Glendale-River Hills than other schools in Wisconsin.
Just as a reminder, Teresa, this budget projects a surplus because this is our first year of the referenda. So
Right.
This has a surplus of almost $300,000 that we will probably be using in 2024 and 2025, pulling it out because like last year, we ran a deficit budget because again, Rosie does a nice job of projecting over the next 5 years of how much money we need to save now to be able to pay in future years.
And then I know that that fund balance is used for the bridge from receipt of tax revenues, property tax revenues to cover us until we receive all of them. How much money do we typically have to borrow?
That's the next item, Teresa.
Oh,
You're
okay.
taking my thunder away because I was going to get on
I'm
my
sorry.
soapbox and
I'm getting ahead
say
of myself.
state funding of schools is still messed up, but yeah.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks a lot, Rosie. Thanks, Larry.
You're welcome.
Okay. All right. So then,
Just
is
say
there
one thing,
Yeah.
since Rosie is on again this year, I want to thank Rosie. I think she does a brilliant job at doing this. Every year I clap, and I'm I'm an accountant by trade, and the stuff that she does is amazing. And I just want to say thank you, Rosie. Thank you very much for putting that together.
It's always very comprehensive. I would agree. Thanks to me.
Yeah, easy to read.
Yeah. All right. If there's no other questions, and it doesn't look like there's anyone else raising their hand, I will do roll call vote, starting my left to right. Teresa,
Aye.
Danielle,
Aye.
Tamika,
Aye.
And Andy votes aye as well, so the motion passes. And then number B.
Thank you. And Teresa, thanks for the segue into item B, which is a resolution to authorize temporary borrowing. This year, we need to borrow $5.3 million to bridge that gap between July 1, which is the beginning of our fiscal year. And then, as people know, you don't pay taxes till either December or they're due on January 15th. So we don't get most of our revenue until January, but we have to pay our expenses starting on July 1. And to do that, we use fund balance, and then we have to do temporary borrowing. This year, again, thanks to really low interest rates, we're borrowing at a great rate. Just for the communities, the reason that it's not on the agenda is because you can't borrow by state law until the day of the board meeting. So we actually got approved this morning for borrowing $5.3 million. It will be part of the minutes going forward if you want real specifics, but I can be somewhat specific that BOK Financial Securities had the winning bid this morning. I think we had 7 bidders and they came in with the best. And again, Rosie being so good at this, she divides the 5.3 into 2 different payments so that we save some interest each year. So we have a $2.8 million bond at 0.5253%. That is has to be repaid next April 13th. And then we have an additional $2.5 million bond at 0.5073%. And that's due next August 23rd. Just to put in perspective, last year we borrowed almost the exact same amount of money and we had interest rates of 1.35 and 1.36. So I'm recommending that the board approve the temporary borrowing of $5.3 million. Got the rates stated.
Yeah, is there a motion?
So moved. Tamika.
Second?
Teresa, seconds.
Okay, Larry, you know, the first thing that I noticed when I saw the item was the interest rates, and yeah, this is really crazy, Eddie, insane low, and that's wonderful that you know we're able to do that. What is our current rating? Because that also factors into this too, right?
Yep, we're still a high AA rating,
Okay.
which is the second highest rating rate.
Okay. Is there any other discussion, Teresa?
Rosie, is this 5.3 million? I can't recall what we borrowed last year. Is it on the high end, low end, middle?
We were 4.8 million last year.
Can you say that again? I didn't hear you.
Yeah.
4.8 million last year. We did have to increase it. One of the main reasons is how they restructured people paying their property taxes, and what the total payment we would have gotten last week was less, almost $800,000. So we need to be able to carry the additional amount people are postponing their taxes, and the county is postponing our payment.
Yeah, and that's understandable. Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there's no other discussion, I'll take a vote here. Starting from my left to right. Teresa?
Aye.
Danielle?
Aye.
Tamika?
Aye.
And I vote aye as well. The motion carries.
Item C, and I'm just going to take the floor for just a second because before I ask you or give you my recommendation that you accept my resignation, I just want to make it very clear to the community that I'm, because I've heard all sorts of conspiracy theories out there. They're not true. I'm not dying. I'm not sick. I did not win the lottery yet. I'm trying to, but it hasn't happened yet. I just have been a superintendent for, this is my 15th year, and I would say it's not a healthy profession to do for long term, but at the same time, I love Glendale. I'm not turning my back on Glendale, but as I told my staff, if I can't come to work every day giving 150%, and I'm feeling tired and old, and I'm not doing that anymore, then it's time for me to leave. And so with that, I do recommend that the board accept my resignation effective November 16th.
I'm in the uncomfortable and unenviable position of asking if anyone wants to make a motion.
So moved. That was for
Rip
you,
the
Larry.
bandage off. Is there a second?
We
Second.
need-
Okay. You know, I want to just tell a couple very quick anecdotes about Larry. The first time that I got to know Larry was when I was part of the foundation. I'd been asked to join the foundation as a trustee, and it was really my first exposure to the school district and to just all the terrific staff and volunteers. You know, I quickly saw that Larry was really the glue that kept things together. And after I'd been there for a while, an opening came up on the board, and I kind of gingerly asked around, and I approached Larry, and Larry said, I asked him what he thought, and he thought, I think it'd be great. And it was just the nicest thing that, you know, he could have said. And I think I called him about every day after that decision. Did anyone else put their name in? No. Not that I know of. Did anyone else? No. I was really nervous and, you know, unsure at the time. And I'll tell you, Larry was there to just encourage me. And when I got on the board, he was just a great resource in terms of explaining to me all the different things that were going on in the school. You know, what people hopefully see, it's a little bit harder to see it through a camera lens, but the time that he spends to just go through all the questions that someone has and to answer them and just give a frank response. He does so much for the school district. And, you know, when I became president, he was also equally, you know, receptive to that. He encouraged me. I had some ideas about maybe ways that we can improve things with board meetings, and either he went along with them or he thought they were great ideas, but regardless, he didn't tell me anything different than unbridled enthusiasm. So I've had a chance to work with him real close now for over 3 years as president. I've had a chance to work with him as much as a board member. And, you know, when you take a snapshot in time and someone says something happened, or, you know, someone taking an uncharacteristic or rash action because, you know, some tension, it doesn't capture really anywhere near what the entirety is of the situation of someone's life. You know, and it's really tough for me seeing Larry leave because he's such an integral part of the school, but I know he's doing it on, you know, the best of terms. I know that he's doing it because the time is right. And I'm just going to miss you terribly, Larry. And it's probably not the last time I'm going to say that publicly, but I wish you nothing but the best of luck. And I know that we're going to get through this in part because of really what you've done to help build up our school district. And so I do hope that people recognize that we have just, and I say it again, and I say it time again, I mean it 100%. We have the greatest school district in our state. We are a fantastic group of people. And Larry, your devotion, your energy, your effort are just so much part of what makes that possible every day. So it's going to be a huge void to fill. But, you know, I wish you nothing but the best.
I'd like to say something too. Larry and I are oil and water sometimes, and then sometimes we are peanut butter and jelly. I think the one thing that I can always say about him, no matter if we agree or disagree, is that in his heart of heart, every decision he has made has been for the best of the district and the children. And I think you can agree with that, Larry. Every decision you've ever made, every hiring you ever done, anything that you have moved, it's because you feel like it is the best for the kids. I do think you're a phenomenal superintendent. I actually understand, because we've had these conversations before, where it's not that you don't love the work, it's just tiring at times, but you are an amazing person. Don't let whatever people say get you, you know, to thinking that you did something wrong. You did not. I just really respect the fact that you yell at me, or whatever you do, I knew at the end of the day, it's because you thought it was the best for the kids. And if any teacher, any school board, any principal can say that about every single decision they make, then they had a great career. And I think you had an amazing career. I've only been with you for 4 years, but I learned a lot. First thing you ever did, you gave me Robert rules of for dummies. That was the first thing you ever gave me. So I thank you for that, and just being a great leader and accepting how everybody goes. And like, I don't do emails or texts. I'm a phone call person, and accepting that, you know, even though you're like, oh, I gotta talk to her on the phone, but I just thank you. And
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate all the work you've done.
You guys are very kind. Thank you.
Not really, this is really what we mean.
Okay, so we can just go to the next item.
Teresa wanted to say, so I saw her hand.
Yeah, given that we're in, you know, a few issues with the COVID-19 reopening, new principal, et cetera, I have to ask, Larry, are you willing to extend the date of your retirement to the date we find a new superintendent?
I will do whatever is necessary for Glendale. So if it comes to be November 16th and you need me to stay, I do have some opportunities out there, but at the same time, I want to do what's in the best interest of the Glendale-River Hills School District. And if you need me, I will be here. As I told the staff, you know, again, I'm not mad. I'm going to be working every single day, just like I've done for the last 14 years. I work every single day. I will continue to do that. We have a great district. I concur with you, Andy. And if it gets to be that time and you need me to stay through, you know, winter break or January, we can have that discussion. I'm not, you know, burning the house down as I leave. I love Glendale, and it's still a great district. It will continue to be a great district.
Okay.
So that's part of the motto, what every kid, every day, whatever it takes. So I believe in that.
I would ask then that the motion perhaps be amended to accept the resignation as of the date of the start of the new superintendent. I don't know who made the motion. Maybe it was me. I can't recall. Do you know who made the motion? Andy? Karen?
I think I made the motion.
Mika and I
Mika.
seconded.
Can you tell me what your amendment is again?
I would ask that the resignation be accepted, but for the date of retirement be the date of the start of the new superintendent rather than a hard date of November 16th. I can't recall what the date was.
May I suggest that, you know,
We have to wait. She's asking for a motion. We have to at least have it, and we have to have it either a second or no second, and then we have discussion. But she has a motion, and we can't discuss it until the motion is finished. Or
I asked for an amendment. Is that the same thing as a motion that needs a second, or do you have?
yes, it's an amendment. You're asking for an amendment on a motion, and I'm not. I'm going to second it so we can have a discussion, and we have to vote on it. But I'm going to second it so we can have a discussion.
so you want to have a discussion on the amended motion now?
Well, there's a motion, there's a second. Now there's discussion.
I understand that, but the motion has been amended then.
No, there was a motion. It was first and seconded. We
Oh,
were
that's right,
talking,
because she didn't, that's right.
right,
So
and then we talked about it, but then she made an amendment. So now we have to talk about the amendment to see if that is what we want to vote on. If we vote it on, then that will be what we vote on again. If not, then it goes back to the original motion.
okay, then I'm glad that, you know, we talked that out. So the first thing we're going to discuss is whether or not we accept the amendment, and then
Yes.
we go back to voting on the
Right.
ultimate package with or
Correct.
without the amendment. Then I will ask if there's any discussion.
Where I kind of want to know what your thought process is on that. So, and I had to second it so I could hear what your thought process was.
Me?
Yeah.
As I said, I think we're in the middle of some very, critical, difficult, comprehensive issues that need to be worked out. And rather than trying to hire a superintendent in the middle of all that and make that transition, I would hope that Larry can extend his resignation date or the date of retirement so we have all the time we need to reopen, deal with COVID, go to a blended schedule if need be, go to in-person if need be, and hire a superintendent in the meantime, rather than trying to juggle all those balls at once.
So I'm not sure if we can actually have an open-ended date, because in order for Larry to be able to have a firm date of retirement and draw on the benefits that he has under the Wisconsin retirement system, I don't think that we can have floating notice. I think that he has to give a specific notice one way or the other, not just for us, but also for WRS. But regardless, it's a practical matter. I don't think that we can just have, a retirement out there without a flexible date. And, frankly, I think we probably should have asked Larry first if that's what he wanted. But Larry's also said that he'd be willing to work with us. And as the board, Larry wants to stay to help us out, we can work that out with him at a later point. So I don't think that we need to do anything to, to change what Larry's already given us, which is a 90-day notice.
And
I'm not going to speak for you, but, I think.
wait, one other thing. My understanding was from what I understand, that we can accept now if whatever we do, if we hire earlier or later, that can be adjusted in the sense of a vote. So I don't necessarily, I think having a hard date is good, but we also can come back and say, like if it turns out to be, we hired somebody tomorrow and it's an awesome person and he doesn't have to work past, September 5th. We can come back and say, you know what, September 5th is your, do you want to resign from September 5th and call it a day? I think that is what it is. So I don't necessarily think I want to have it as a open-ended. I think we can come back in October and we find out we're not where we need to be. And he said, he would be willing, and then we just do a supplemental contract, I believe it's called.
Yep.
And then, and we go from there. So I don't necessarily think we need to have it open-ended.
Okay. Can I withdraw my amendment then?
We have to vote on it because it's already first and seconded.
So from my understanding, you would, I'm not telling you how to vote, but you should vote no to the amendment and then vote yes to the original.
Right.
Correct. Okay, so I'm going to do a roll vote. And so if you do not support the amendment, you would vote no. And if you do support the amendment, you would vote
Yes, you, Danielle.
yes.
Thank you.
Right. So Teresa, are you in favor or against, yea or nay, the amendment?
Nay.
Okay. Danielle,
No, nay.
Tamika,
Nay.
and Andrew Franklin votes nay. That brings back to, unfortunately, the original, which is the 90-day notice that Larry's given us for his retirement. If there's no further discussion on that, I'll do a roll call. And so I'll start with Teresa. Are you in favor, aye or nay, of the original retirement request?
Aye.
Okay. Danielle,
Aye.
Tamika,
Aye.
and Franklin votes a begrudging aye as well. So the motion carries. Larry, wish you nothing but the best, and we've got a few more months of being with you, and I look forward to working with you every step of the way.
I concur. Thank you.
Go ahead and wipe the tears. I see them. Just go ahead.
Not from me. Letter D is approve the teacher resignation. Narissa Murray was a 6th grade special education teacher last year. She gave me her notice of resignation last Friday, August 14th. And I wish her well, and that the board should approve her resignation as of August 14th, 2020.
Is there a motion with respect to the recommendation?
So moved.
Second, Teresa.
Yeah. Is there any discussion? I would just want to say we wish Ms. Murray luck, nothing but the best. She was a terrific teacher in the district, and we wish her well in her new position.
I agree.
So with that, all in favor, Teresa Seam
Aye.
and Danielle Bailey,
Aye.
Tamika Bukovic,
Aye.
and Andy Franklin vote aye. And motion.
Letter E, this is a long board meeting today. Teacher leave of absence. Due to COVID-19 and different family needs, Miss Christine Utek asked for a leave of absence, and I'm recommending that the board accept Miss Christine Utek's leave of absence because we have a very quality candidate for a letter of employment, and I believe that there's not going to be a missed beat over at the K-5 of Miss Christine, and it's in her family's best interest also. So I recommend that the board approve the leave of absence for Christine Utek for the 2020-2021 school year.
Okay, is there a
So
motion?
moved. So moved.
Yeah, second?
Second, Teresa.
Okay, is there any discussion? Seeing none, I just want to wish Ms. Utek good leave, and I'll take a roll vote. Teresa Seam,
Aye.
Danielle Bailey,
Aye.
Tamika Bukovic. Tamika, did we lose you? I will vote aye. The motion carries, and I hope that Tamika gets back in here.
Technology is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
I am very, very pleased for our next item. So the community, the board knows this, and I think the staff knows this, but just for the community, Mr. Steve Rogers took his equity job in Wauwatosa at the end of July. It was right for him. It was right for his family, for his career. And so we needed a new principal for Glen Hills. We had 71 people apply to be the principal of Glen Hills. After doing a screening, we did 15 screening interviews and then 5 full-fledged interviews that included staff members and parents on the interview committee, and then a final 2. So a long interview process, and I'm thrilled, and she just popped in the screen up there. I'm recommending the board approve Miss Anna Young as the newest principal of Glen Hills Middle School starting tomorrow for the 2020-2021 school year.
And I will ask if there's a motion.
So moved. Teresa.
Is there a
Second.
second? Terrific. That was Danielle. It looks like she's still not back in here. All right. Is
I'm
there?
back.
Oh, there you go.
My power went, or my power strip went out. I apologize.
No problem. We are in the middle of a motion and second to accept Anna Young as principal. Larry's already made a big summary of the multitude of interviews, discussions that have gone on that have brought her to the front of the pack. And so I would start out by asking if there's any discussion. And seeing none, I want to say, I asked Larry if Ms. Young could be here tonight, and she is here, and hopefully she'll have, a brief moment to introduce herself to everyone today. I am just really ecstatic that we found a very good candidate here, someone who, is here, is ready to step in, ready to be part of the fabric of our community. And it seemed to me from all the people that were involved in her selection, from public members, teachers, I know that Tamika was involved, and I know there were administrators involved as well. I don't think that I've had the pleasure of seeing someone recommended with such a level of optimism. And so I'm just very excited at the opportunity. So with that said, I suppose procedurally, I'll take the vote and then we can introduce Ms. Young.
Yep.
So Teresa Seam.
Aye.
And Danielle Bailey.
Aye.
And Tamika Vukovic.
Aye.
And Andrew Franklin votes aye. And the motion carries. Welcome, Ms. Young, to Glen Hills.
Welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I know this is a very difficult and challenging school year, and I can assure you that I was, out handing out hundreds of things in St. Francis tonight to make sure that students could get off to a successful start. I'm looking forward to serving your community and getting to know your students and the families there so that I can continue to offer excellent education to the outstanding students that I know I have yet to meet. So I'm really looking forward to it, and thank you for having me come on board, and I think it'll be a great school year despite the challenges.
Welcome, Anna.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.
So next, we also have a new teacher. Miss Maisie Wellington is coming to us from the Franklin School District as a 7th grade special education teacher for the 2020-2021 school year. She has multiple years of experience in special education, and I highly recommend that the board approve her contract.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second, Teresa.
Any discussion?
Can you say the name again? What
Ma-
position?
It's Maisie Wellington, and she's a 7th grade special education teacher.
Right.
Okay. And that's terrific that she's going to be here with us. Is there any additional discussion? Did I hear a hand go up?
Nope, you heard my phone beep.
All right, then. Just making sure I'm watching in case there's anyone who has a question. With that said, I will do a roll call vote. Teresa Seam.
Aye.
Danielle Bailey.
Aye.
And Tamika Vukovic.
Aye.
Andrew Franklin votes aye. Motion carries. Welcome, Ms. Wellington.
That's wonderful. And then we also have 2 letters of employment. As we just talked about a teacher leave of absence, we also had a teacher leave of absence earlier in the summer, special education teacher Carly. So I have 2 letters of employment. Mr. John David is a 0.5 FTE, so half-time letter of employment, also going to work in 7th grade special education. And Miss Sarah Edbauer is going to be the new 5K position over at Parkway. Both positions are available due to leave of absence, so I highly recommend the board approve letters of employment for John David, 7th grade special education, and Sarah Edbauer, K-5 teacher for the 2020-2021 school year.
Okay, is there a motion?
Both come with quite a bit of experience, by the way.
Yeah, right, I see that.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Teresa.
All right, is there any further discussion? All right, seeing none, then I will do roll call vote. All in favor, Teresa Seam,
Aye.
Danielle Bailey,
Aye.
Tamika Vukovic,
Aye.
Andrew Franklin votes aye, and the motion carries.
Wonderful. Just a couple quick information items, because we've been having a lot of board meetings. You know that Nicolay and Fox Point and Mapledale and we meet as twice a week for the superintendents. But I want to give a shout out to Jenica Westfall. You kind of did one earlier today, Mr. Franklin. Besides meeting with you and helping rewrite the virtual curriculum and making sure that everything's up and running, we had our 4-district professional development day today that she helped set up. Outstanding Dr. John Spencer, who's an expert in teaching virtually, came and was the keynote speaker to all 4 districts today. So that was great, and I will continue to work with the superintendents on reopening plans with the North Shore School District, and Jenica will continue to work with the curriculum people. I know that Dr. Kilton has a meeting tomorrow with the pupil service directors of the other districts, so we are working very, very well together, and that will continue. And then Mr. Franklin, I think you had wanted to do.
I have a question, Larry. Just FYI, how are the other schools opening? I never heard. I know we had at the end of it, somebody hadn't voted yet. So I know Nicolay is open virtually.
Nicolay is going virtually. Fox Point is doing a blended. They are starting full in-person for K4, K5, and I believe first grade, and then blended, which is 2 days a week on and 3 days the week off for the rest of the grade levels. Mapledale has started. They are going to start blended, 2 on and 3 off, and they put a date saying that by October 5th, they want to be fully in person.
I wanted to know what they.
Yep.
Thank you.
And again, every superintendent and board says the exact same thing at that time. That's subject to change.
As always. I wanted to add that Nicolay has also incorporated in their reopening plan a three-week review date, which would be September 20, I think, to determine if moving to a blended program would work, and they would take the next week to transition into that blended if it's called for. So the first date of blended for Nicolay at the earliest would be September 27th, Monday, September 27th, I believe.
Yep, and in our reopening plan, we have a minimum of a 2 week, and before the board could even approve reopening. So we're not going to jump from one to the other without thorough discussion by the board and community.
Okay. And then as item B, Larry, discussion on the process for superintendent search. I wanted to give public an update on how we're going to go about and do this. And start out by giving you the assurance that you probably want to hear, but certainly that we want to give you, that we're going to be engaging in a very orderly process to find a replacement. We're going to be looking at internal and external candidates, and we're going to be opening up the search. And we intend to use the services of a consultant in order to help us do that. We believe that the best time to really look for a superintendent is going to be really starting at the end of the year, beginning of 2021, the calendar year. And so that creates potential for a gap because Larry, even if you extend sometime, it'll be 90 days plus. So what we are looking at right now is a candidate that we are going to talk to tomorrow, and who is going to be an interim candidate, a candidate for an interim position. And we found someone who has a track record of excellence in education, community involvement, and is local to Glendale as well. And so the board's going to be sitting down to talk to that person tomorrow. And we're going to try after that to come up with confirmation of our process and if we're going to go forward with that person. For the moment, I can't tell you much more about that. But from that point on, I can tell you that whoever that interim candidate will be, there is nonetheless going to be a search for a permanent candidate that would fill whoever would be interim starting in the 21 to 22 school year. But we are excited that we have at least some prospects going forward. And as to the public's involvement in this, the family's involvement in this, we're going to pledge to you that we keep you involved in part of that process, and that we are going to spend time doing what we need to come up with that process, to include you in that, and to follow through on it. And I think that we will know a lot more about interim steps within no more than the next 30 days. So please stay tuned, and I promise you that we'll give you as much information as possible.
Thanks. Then visitor participation.
Okay. Visitor participation. Visitors may speak on any non-agenda item at this time. State law and or board policy may limit school board's response. If you'd like to ask a question, please raise your hand, and please limit your comment to 3 minutes.
Rob Cronwell is up first.
Hi, Robert Cronwell. I had just noticed that last night's special session didn't have a location listed on the meeting notice, and it doesn't have a physical location or a Zoom address or anything. And I think the same thing's for
Executive
tomorrow night.
session. It was executive session, Rob.
Well, Rob, and look, that's on me. I was the one who had rushed out that notice. So I want you to understand it was a Zoom meeting and it was a discussion. But yeah, there was no physical location present.
And it was an executive session.
Doesn't matter. All meetings start in open session and end in
We
open
understand that, Rob. He just said he was,
public.
I was just letting you know it was an executive session.
Well, I
Listen,
can
Rob,
read the agenda.
Rob, no, I understand where you're coming from, and accuracy is important. I appreciate you for catching that, and we'll also have those minutes out, and so we'll be able to reconcile that.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone again for attending. I think that last item, I'll give just a moment in case someone wants to raise their hand while I switch to the motion to adjourn. So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
I'll second, Teresa.
Okay, then I'll ask Teresa, yay?
Yay.
Danielle,
Yay.
Tamika,
Yes.
and Andy votes yes. Thanks to everyone for joining us today.
Thanks, guys. Stay safe out there.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.